Hello and welcome to another episode of Historic Hindsight. I'm John, that's Tom, and today we're breaking down the Battle of Gettysburg.
Well, that's sort of right. And Johnny, a spoiler, it's going to be a three-part episode. We're going to break it down day by day by day because it's the Battle of Gettysburg, and if you're a Civil War person, this is the big show. This is
your Superbowl.
This is the Super
right?
Bowl. This is the big thing. We went out there. We got some live footage of the battlefield to put up here during our recording. So we're breaking it down to three episodes. They should release, hopefully, barring any catastrophes, at least by the end of the day, on each of the days that these happened. So let's jump.
If not, that's fine.
If not, that's fine.
Don't overpromise.
Well, it's fine.
We'll get it there.
It's fine.
But it'll come out.
It'll come out. And let's just jump right in, Johnny. We're going to lead up to the Battle of Gettysburg. What made it so important? All that fun stuff. How did it happen? Where we're at. So it starts off in June of 1863. Lee thinks it's a great idea to relieve the Northern Virginia population from having to deal with the war by taking the fight to the north, which isn't a bad idea. His whole goal here isn't necessarily to win outright in the north, which wasn't really going to happen. But his thought is, if I can get a strategic victory in the north, that might convince enough Northerners to vote to end this shit, or put pressure on Lincoln to end this shit, and that would be their best option at a negotiated peace. And that's his plan.
Rather aggressive move from the south here, I think, coming up into the north. I don't know. When we seceded from England, or had our revolution,
we didn't fight in England. No,
we went over there. We didn't send ships.
No,
that's
we didn't.
Weird.
No, we didn't do that. That's weird.
Okay.
That is right. That's
all right.
right.
Well, that's just a
sidebar.
Random side question I had.
So he's going to start off in early June. He's going to move his army north. He's got it separated out in three corps underneath Longstreet, Hill, and Ewell, all of which are going to kind of meander into the north on their own paths. It's going to be
all going towards the same, towards Gettysburg,
same general area,
but just kind of, however, from where they're coming from, I guess.
Yep. 75,000 men in total. He's going to lead up there.
Okay.
This is a good. This is a big. This is it. This is like pretty much
that's why it's 3 days.
Substantial
I guess. Okay,
part
episodes,
of.
Right.
Confederate Army. Yeah, this is one of the largest battles of the war. And spoiler alert, it's the bloodiest. Boo, 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 boo.
Oh, good.
Yay.
That's fun.
He plans on living off the land, threatening the Pennsylvania countryside by just raping and pillaging. Well, not raping. He does give specific orders not to rape. He says no raping.
Well,
be kind.
I'm sure they all listen
to the white. Be kind to the white civilian population. Yeah. And if you do take food or your materials or whatever, do try to give them compensation. And by compensation, it's Confederate bucks. So. Absolutely,
I mean, there you
worthless.
go. It's here's your Chuck E. Cheese tokens. So yeah, you say live off the land. He's not picking berries and hunting deer.
No, he's going to farmsteads,
going to farmhouses and stealing their pigs and things like that. Okay,
yep.
That's
100%.
Yeah, living off the land's a little bit different than
stealing from people.
Sure, I get you. I got you. Yeah.
Yep. On June 26, elements of Major General Early's division underneath Hill is going to occupy Gettysburg, which they're going to push aside the home guard. And you're thinking there, June 26, Battle of Gettysburg doesn't start till the 1st. What the hell? You're right.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
The Confederates get there on June 26. There's only the home guard there. They push them aside and go, oh, this isn't really... there's not a lot here. And they don't take, anything. There's no substantial supplies that they take. There's no substantial ground there at all. Hill's just
and such. Yeah, that's
all right,
been the case.
Cool. They push the cup. That's it. And then they leave the very next morning. Again, no significant supplies are taken on the 26th from Gettysburg. On the 27th, they move out to meet up with the rest of Hill's Corps in York County. While all that's going on, Lee gives one of the dumbest orders of his career, where he looks to General Stuart, who's the head of the cavalry, who, when you're moving in enemy territory, you want your cav to operate as the eyes and ears of your army. He gives him the stupid order of, I want you to kind of go in a flanking maneuver around the enemy and screw up some shit behind them. You can kind of operate on your own free will. There's some debate about how much leeway he gave Stuart, but in any case, Stuart took the orders as do whatever the fuck I want, which was be a land pirate and steal a bunch of shit and not pay any attention to where the Union Army position is, and that's going to come back to be an issue later on down the road.
So he wanted him to distract he wanted him to distract the army by messing stuff up, and instead they just went into town and did some shit.
Yeah, pretty much. They start going over all these countrysides, raping and pillaging. Stuart is a very pompous general who likes. I mean, he wears an elaborate uniform. He likes to. He's like a peacock, you know. He's just out there, you know, just showing himself off. And so the idea of getting honor and glory from stealing pigs from farmers, I guess, that's what he's going for.
Okay.
Now,
all right. Sure.
On June 27th, Hooker's poor attempts to pursue Lee and locate Lee's army gets him into a fight with Halleck, who's the overall commander of all the armies. And he goes, look, I want to use Harper's Ferry troops to go and fight Lee. And Halleck's like, maybe don't do that and just go and fight him because... Go find him.
Without the troop?
Move and go. Well, it's not that. It's just like you haven't even moved yet. You're
just
still
go do it.
You just go find him. Like, go do something.
Well, the North is not big on moving around a lot during this war. We the generals seem to like to kind of
do their own thing.
Put.
Yeah, and Johnny, this is going to come to a big surprise to you on the 28th, in the morning of the 28th. Hooker is so mad that he resigns to Lincoln. Says, "I don't want to do this anymore. I'm resigning." And
wait. Did Lincoln say no? You can't.
No, Johnny, this is a surprise. Lincoln said, "Deal." He replaces him with General Meade that day.
I thought you were doing a thing. I thought I was going to be right.
No, you did, yeah. Which you should have made because every time anybody else tried to resign,
every other time
Lincoln said no. But this time he goes, "You're so bad." That's how bad Hooker was. You're so bad that when you offered to resign, Lincoln's like, "Yep."
He's like, "All right, I guess so. That's fine. I will find a replacement for you."
Yep.
Which is already set up, right? Isn't there just like a next up type?
Sort of.
Does he have to kind of appoint? Or?
So he appoints General Meade to command the armies of the
Lincoln does.
Yeah. Lincoln appoints Meade to command the armies of the Potomac, and it's a little bit of a. We thought it might have been Reynolds because a few weeks ago he talked to Reynolds specifically about Hooker and about the potential of maybe taking over Hooker's spot, but he supersedes Reynolds and goes to Meade, which, spoiler alert, in a little bit, that's probably not a bad idea because something happens to Reynolds. So we'll get there in a minute.
Oh, all right.
So at this point, it's 28th, Lee's army is spread out between Chambersburg, Carlisle, and Harrisburg, all between a 20 to 30-mile radius of Gettysburg. Lee orders that none of his armies are to engage in any significant fighting until they can coordinate in Cashtown. Goals, they're all going to meet up in Cashtown and then choose a location to attack. En masse.
Dope city name.
But on the 29th, Hill's going to hear some rumors that a portion of the Union cavalry has entered the area around Gettysburg, and so on the 30th, Hill decides to go on a little scouting expedition. Now, 14 years later, Hill is going to say that he went to Gettysburg in search of shoes. Now, keep in mind, they were already there on the 26th, were there, and they knew that there was no shoe factory in Gettysburg. There was no significant shipments of supplies, let alone shoes, coming in or out of Gettysburg at this time. Mm-hmm. It is a complete fabrication of bullshit that Hill makes up 14 years later to cover up the fact that what he was really doing is just trying to get a name for himself and fight some Union Cav and push them away. That's all he wanted to do. He wanted to get into a fight with Union Cav, completely against Lee's orders, and there we are.
I don't know. I mean, maybe that feels like maybe you're a little bit of a editorializing there.
Maybe, or we know that there were no shoes there, and we know there were no shoe shipments. So him saying he went there for shoes. All
right,
it's either him being an idiot.
I was looking for cayenne pepper today to put into my soup. Mm-hmm. And do you know how many times I checked the cabinet? The same cabinet?
Yeah.
10 times I checked that cabinet.
Johnny,
it wasn't there after the first 3. And I kept checking because it wasn't anywhere else that I thought it was.
Johnny, you want to know why?
You know what I eventually found?
You didn't have
some other type of spice to put into my soup because I never found the cayenne pepper because it wasn't there the first time.
You want to know why you kept going back and looking for the cayenne peppers 10 times? It's because you smoke pot.
Yeah. I don't know about that. That's allegedly.
Anyways,
allegations here.
But because of this report that Hill puts in his own memoirs 14 years later, every damn episode or documentary that you get about Gettysburg is like, they fought it over shoes. No, they didn't.
It's over shoes. It's all every.
Well, wait, there was Civil War movie is about shoes.
the movie we watched, was that Gettysburg?
No, that was Glory, and they also mentioned shoes.
Okay, and not about, and that's also shoes. So they just pretended that everybody
needed shoes.
Shoes were such a hot commodity.
Yeah, hot commodity. Yeah.
That's basically what the war was fought about.
In reality, the reason why battle happened at Gettysburg, Pennsylvania is twofold. First, almost every road in Pennsylvania leads in and out of Gettysburg, so it's kind of a natural, like, funneling
big main hub
zone. It's not a big hub. It just happens, like, geographically, like, every major road goes out of there. It's not a very large city.
Is it because of the way, because Pennsylvania is mountainous, so it's just kind of the way.
Yeah, it's just kind of the way.
The roads kind of have to funnel through.
Yep. And like I said, Hill thought he would win glory by knocking out some Union cav. Problem was, there was a little bit more soldiers there than he thought there was going to be. On June 30th, Pettigrew's forces approach Gettysburg and see Union cavalry underneath John Buford arriving south of the city. Pettigrew rides back to Hill, informs Hill of the Union forces. Pettigrew and Hill agree that they let's go fight them. And so on July 1st, they march in mass to Gettysburg. Day one of the battle. We're there, Johnny. 15 minutes in, we're already there. We're good. Yeah.
Let's start killing people.
So, on the 30th, Buford actually does scout. The appropriate thing, does send out scouts and sees, and he does see Hill's army in mass. And his scouts also report that Longstreet's not that far away, Ewell's not that far away. So he's got Lee's entire army in a 20 to 30 mile radius. Gettysburg is seeming to be where it might be kicking off. And Gettysburg has a very good defensible position of Hill's. The problem is the Union army is also spread out, and it's going to take a little bit of time to get that Union army into position. So Buford makes the suicidal decision of, all right, with my 1 brigade of cav, I'm going to make a stand and try to hold out long enough for General Reynolds and the Black Hat Division to get up. And then with that said, that should delay enough time for the rest of the Union army to get up so that they can they hold the high grounds around Gettysburg. That's the battle.
So he is literally just a distraction, a slowdown, a roadblock.
Yes,
is how he's using his men here.
That's how he's using his men.
That's okay. That type of mentality, I'm guessing, is how we ended up with the bloodiest battle.
Yeah, it sure doesn't help. So he sends runners back to General Reynolds. General Reynolds was like, "Yes, I can be there probably by late morning, early afternoon. If you can hold out to then." Buford says, "I'll do my best."
I can do what I can do. What do you like?
No,
I'm gonna let a bunch of kids die, so like I'll do that, no problem. But,
Buford does what he can, and in all honesty, from military tactics standpoint, Buford accurately predicts that Hill's going to approach from the west. He sets up an ambush on the ridges at the west of town at Hare Ridge, McPherson's Ridge, and Seminary Ridge, and Hill's corps moves out at 5 a.m. on July 1st, with Heath's division advancing 2 brigades down Chambersburg Pike, so there's 2 brigades right off the bat in the morning versus 1 brigade of cav. 2 brigades of infantry, 1 brigade of cav. The Confederates should be able to walk right over that cav. At 7:30 a.m., Heath's division meets light resistance of forward mounted pickets from Buford's forces. As Heath moves his army forward, he hits dismounted cav underneath Gamble's brigade that laid into him using Sharp's carbines. So they've got brand new Sharp's carbine breech-loading guns. So while they're outnumbered 2-1, they have breech-loaders which can shoot pretty much 2-1, maybe even 3-1. Because when we did our shooting, which we'll have videos of that later down the line in episodes of our Mad Minute with muskets. When we say 3 rounds a minute with a musket, you're not getting 3 rounds a minute with a musket. You're getting 2, maybe. You're not getting 3.
No, you'll get 2.
But
you'll get 2 for sure.
2.
You'll get close to 3. You'll get halfway there.
Yeah, but you won't.
And you'll think maybe I can do it, and then you'll try again, and then.
You
jams because that's all they do because it's dirty black powder bullshit.
Now the Sharps that's dropped the breech, put the cartridge in. You're getting 4 up to 6. Like that's more practical. So they're getting double the firepower. So this really helps in. On top of that, they're set behind a nice line of wood fences and stone walls. And Buford's men, now imagine this, Buford's men, 2,950 men total. They're going to hold off Heath's division of 7,500. And then right behind them is another 22,100 from the remainder of A.P. Hill's corps that are coming up behind him.
I mean, at some point, did you just have too many men to do anything, like to be effective with? Like, can you only do like as far as like because eventually like space becomes an issue.
Space does become an issue, and because you speak of space, they were coming down Chambersburg Road, which we'll have a video of that up there. It's a straight line shot, and you can see for miles down the straight line shot. Where
they're going uphill, by the way,
uphill on this road,
and they're just watching them. And you got a funnel.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter how many men you have, however many men are in the front that can be effective, which is a small fraction of that army.
And Buford has a battery of artillery with him as well, and they all open up, and it is not pleasant to the Confederates in terms of casualties. Yeah. It is heavy. Oof. Now, with that said, Buford is going to suffer a lot because he stands his ground. And battle kicks off at 7:30.
Well,
he's there for a solid 2 hours, or just under 2 hours, 10:20, when he finally sees the vanguard of the Union First Corps under John Reynolds arriving. The flags are flying. They're coming in. They're playing the fucking Hell on the Wabash song. Fifes are drumming, drums are drumming, and fifes are coming. The Union infantry is on its way in, Johnny.
And imagine if good music existed back then, like the battle music they would have had would have been dope. Instead, it was probably like
it's not great. Out of all the fife and drum songs, Hell on the Wabash is actually not. You can get to it.
All right, no, you can't. Play your little whistle song here.
You can get a little.
Give people a sample.
Well, I'll give you a little sample of it. All right, Johnny, in this First Corps, they are the Black Hats. They are the most effective, and I also have to preference heaviest casualty brigade of all Union units. So.
Oh, well, I mean, yeah, that's.
But they're there, and John Reynolds is valiantly leading them into position. He's on his horseback. He's got his sword out. He's pointing to where they all need to go. He is leading from the front, and he's promptly shot and killed 15 minutes after arriving onto the field.
Did he perhaps get I get leading your men to a point, but at some point you let the men
do the thing. Yeah,
go around you.
Yeah,
while you stay and come on, men in the back who I care about more than those guys. Like, let's go, you too, get in there. But he just stayed in front.
He stayed in front and got shot and died.
And then he was just a target on top of a horse amongst a bunch of men.
Yeah.
And took one.
Yeah. Now, because of this movie and many other, because of the movie Gettysburg and many other movies, war movies, Reynolds, before he gets shot in the movie's like, for God's sakes, men, move forward! And he gets shot. And basically, if you ever watch a military movie and somebody says, for God's sakes, blank, 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 they're going to die.
Dead.
It's like without a doubt, every military movie, if somebody says, for God's sakes, you're gonna bite it. It's
like at a cop movie with it's my last day before retirement or whatever.
You're gonna die. Yeah, you're gonna.
One more case before I retire. Yeah,
you're
one of
definitely
those things.
Well, Doubleday is going to take command and successfully wards off the dirty rebels with fighting that seems to quiet down around 12:30 p.m. and get into a little bit of a standstill-ish. That is until
lunch break or what? Like
it's all of a sudden, hungry. Hill's like, oh shit, there wasn't supposed to be anything but some home guard, and then there was dismounted cav, and now there's infantry, and what the shit is even going on? Well, by this point, we've got Henry Heath's entire division that's going to get up, and they're going to re-engage at about 2:30 p.m. Pettigrew is going to flank the 19th Indiana, our Indiana boys.
Let's go, boys.
And he's going to drive them back.
Oh. To Indiana,
but it's costing. It costs heavy casualties on both sides. The 26th North Carolina is actually going to
take you with us.
Yeah, the 26th North Carolina. They're the largest regiment in Pettigrew's force. The army was, that unit was comprised of 839 men, and at the end of the day, they're going to walk out with 212 standing. So, they push out the 19th, but the 19th sure made them pay.
I don't know. It feels like the 19th probably should have just stayed and kept. They could.
Yeah, they lost.
Guys.
Johnny, they lost over 50% casualties too. So it's No.
I mean, so?
It's not great.
It's a numbers thing.
It's a numbers thing, yeah. Well, it's a numbers thing that didn't go well for either side. Shortly after the 19th gets flanked, Union forces get pushed back to Seminary Ridge, and eventually what remains is pushed through the grounds of the Lutheran Seminary, through the streets of Gettysburg. The city of Gettysburg has fallen, but to those boys in blue, do not despair. The goal,
it's over. Day one.
No. The goal wasn't to keep Gettysburg.
Tommy, Gettysburg has fallen.
Was to keep
That's
the hills.
it for this week in civil...
No, the goal was to keep the hills on the outside of Gettysburg. They wanted the hills.
They don't care about the city?
The city is the city. They'll get the city back. They want the hills.
You know what? We visited the city. I don't care about the city either.
Yeah, that's fine. As Union forces, Johnny, as Union forces being pushed through Gettysburg, 2 divisions of Ewell's 2nd Corps divert their corps from Cashtown to Gettysburg, while the Union 11th Corps underneath Howard race down Baltimore Pike towards Gettysburg. We've got basically both the Union Army and Confederate Army trying to just everybody to Gettysburg. All hands on deck. Get there as fast as you can. By late afternoon, the Union line is a semicircle west, north, and northeast of Gettysburg. So that west-north area zone, they're there. All the way down to the northeast.
The 4th quadrant.
Yes.
Yeah, the upper 4th quadrant.
Yep, that's where they're at.
You geometry folks.
So that's how their line is set up. They are forced to throw in as many reserves as they can. Doubleday is not doing great at this point. His guys. Now keep in mind he's only in command because Reynolds died, and his boys are suffering about.
Do your job. Step up.
Yeah, he is, and he's lost about half of his men at this point. At 2 p.m., Confederate 2nd Corps is able to outflank the Union 1st and the 11th Corps northwest of town, and again, the Confederates are suffering heavy casualties for their efforts here. But they are able to capture Union General Barlow when he puts his troops in a position where they could easily be assaulted from 2 sides. He gets them into a salient because he thinks it's a better defendable position, but now instead of my right and left flank covered, I'm just out in the open, and he pays for that by getting captured by the dirty rebels.
Well, that's not fun.
After this collapse, the order is given to Union troops to retreat to the hills south of town, with Hancock arriving to take command of the entire battlefield from Doubleday. Hancock's like the second command underneath.
So they're going are they going full loop back to the south of town? Because they're up in this.
They're up in the north. They got pushed through the town. Now they're going back down to the south.
Now they're going to be like, just keep
going south.
Keep going. Just.
Hancock orders a full retreat to the south of town, to the hills that are a very defensible position there. And we're talking about Seminary, not Seminary, Little Round Top, Big Round Top, that area. Ordering them to withdraw there.
The hills that are very defensible, they're defensible because it's literally just rocks, huge rocks everywhere.
And it's a hill.
Weeds and hills, and there's no good way to walk through any of it. Nope. Even the trails that have been blazoned
are not easy.
Tourists and everything else. Put gear on and walk down them. It's gonna be a pain in the ass.
Yeah, you know that.
With
your camera equipment.
A pain in the ass. It sucked.
Like I said, Hancock orders the southern hills to be taken, one of those which being Cemetery Hill. Lee sees the value of those positions and actually orders Ewell to take Cemetery Hill, and this is his order directly, and I quote here, if practicable. So he looks at Ewell and says, if practicable, take Cemetery Hill.
If practicable.
Yeah, if practicable. Which apparently Ewell, says, no, it's not practicable, and does not move any troops to that hill, despite the fact that at this point in the battlefield, there is no Union troop on that hill. So it's very practicable to take it. Just walk on it. Just go get it. But he doesn't.
Practical? Practical.
Practicable. Whatever, it doesn't matter.
Not practicable.
Johnny, leave me alone.
Okay. All right, no, it doesn't matter. You're right.
It's fine. He doesn't get the hill. And as I said, Johnny, that's pretty much where the end of the first day, that's it. Oh. That's Hancock arrives late on the day. His troops don't really get into the battlefield at that point. His only real command is retreat to the hills. And the Union overnight starts to dig in with more and more of the sections of their army coming in. Again, with the Confederates, same thing, more and more of their army coming in. At the end of the first day, Johnny, we have 22,000 Union men engaged and 27,000 Confederates engaged. And it ranks, at this point, the 23rd largest single-day battle during the war, with nearly 50% casualties suffered from both sides. It's not great.
That's not high. That's nothing.
9,000 Union men there's a rough estimate of how many get killed, wounded, and injured on that first day, and 7,000 Confederate men roughly killed, wounded, injured. That 7,000 number is very hard to estimate, though, because, again, Confederates make shit up the way it is. And with a lot of these units being involved in every day of the battle, it's hard to say, like, what was lost day 1, day 2, day 3.
Right, yeah. Did you make it to midnight while you bled out on the battlefield or whatever?
So that's
it for... Oh.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, well, you're there. That's it for the first day. So.
I was going to do it.
Just do it, Johnny.
All right, come on. All right, I'll do it. That's it for this week in Historic Hindsight. Thanks for listening. Be sure to subscribe, rate, and review, and join us next week when we talk about another day of this bloody battle.
War.
And war.
It's fine. It's both.